Welcome back to the Other Side of 45 podcast. I'm your host, Randy Black. This podcast is about taking chances, owning my mistakes, addressing generational family cycles and trauma, completing my 50/50s by 50 list, and my life as a single mother of Gen Z. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Please subscribe and rate the podcast 5 stars. This episode is entitled, I'm Not Going to Your Sky Daddy Prom. So this Sky Daddy Prom, you've always like, what on earth is a Sky Daddy Prom? Well, part of what I talk about on my podcast, if you haven't listened before, is my deconstructing Christianity, in particular from the cult that I grew up in. I was disfellowshipped or ousted from the cult in 2009, and I have not tried to return since. I'm giving more information now and over the next couple of weeks because I have not fully shared my story. And the reason why I'm going to give more details about my ousting and the shunning is because the cult came up with a new update very recently in March. I think it was last week or so. And it has changed the trajectory of what has happened in my life in one day. Okay. So I want to, where I am today as far as my deconstruction, I have a lot to share with you about my deconstruction. And I want to address in particular what is going on with the new governing body update and what it has done in my life, how it's affecting me personally. So let's first go back a little bit and my deconstruction and where I am and what I believe right now. So I used to say I was agnostic, right? So someone who is agnostic is somebody who doesn't believe it is possible to know for sure if God exists. And because I grew up in Christianity, during my deconstructing, I was like, I'm not even sure if I believe there is a God. As I continue on, and I held that, and just recently, I'll say within the last year or so, is when I said, I think if I have to put a label on it, and I really don't, the only time I really have to bring that up or it comes up is here on the podcast, or if someone in my real life who doesn't know me asks. And then I'll say agnostic. Well, recently I came across a new term called agnostic atheist. And I thought, what on earth does that mean? So I did a little research, and this definition is coming from the American Psychological Association. All right. So you can be both agnostic and atheist. How so? So an agnostic atheist doesn't believe, but also doesn't think that we can ever know whether a God exists. So how is that different from an agnostic who says, I just don't know? Well, an agnostic atheist is like, I don't know, but I also don't think you can ever prove it to me. Because what are you going to do? You can't bring me the Bible because I don't believe in that. So you can't use the Bible as proof. Faith is relative to the person that is experiencing it. So I'm not sure, but I may be leaning more toward agnostic atheism. It really don't matter to me. But that lately is how I've been feeling when I think about religion and God. And one of the reasons why I said I'm not going to your Sky Daddy Prom is because that is a term that I've heard when referencing higher being is a Sky Daddy, because there are a lot of people who believe different things, who call that higher being by different titles. And so it may seem harsh to some people, or that we're making fun of it. And maybe that's what they mean when they say it. But when I think about it, and when I think of Sky Daddy, I think of whomever you believe, however you believe, this person that you call, this higher being that you call. Okay. And so although I know the term that's used in the cult that I left, I am trying my best to be as respectful as possible because I still have relatives that believe, and despite the fact that I have no dealings with them, I still want to be as respectful as possible, except they have upset me. So I want to start telling you what happened very recently. There's been a governing body update. You can go to jw.org and see the whole video. I have a few clips here that I'm going to play and for this particular episode, and then I will have more episodes because I have a lot to share. Because when I was creating this episode, I realized that I never gave a lot of details about my disfellowshipping, my outsing, my shunning. I've mentioned it in connection with relatives, but I've never told you exactly what happened and how it all went down. So that is not this episode. On this episode, I want to talk about what prompted this. Okay. So before I do that, I want to get some terminology straightened out. So I have been recently trying to leave out my relationship with those that I'm related to by just saying a relative that's in the cult. Anybody who I'm related to, I no longer call family because they don't call me family. I just call them a relative because they are that. So by definition, from the dictionary, relatives or a relative is a person connected by blood or marriage. Okay, so if you're connected to me by blood or marriage, there's no way of getting around that. Even in the cult, you're a relative. Now, for me, I use family differently because I have so many relatives who are in the cult. I want to make sure that it is distinct when it comes to me. So, family is similar to relatives, and this is the second definition. It is all the descendants of a common ancestor. So they're the same. These people we are all descendants of a common ancestor, but I don't consider them family because of the first definition. A group of one or more parents and their children living together as a unit. That's one of the definition. And I take it a step further by saying, okay, we may not be in the same house, but it's that familiarity, it's that bond that normally a person, their parents and children and siblings would have. So although they may not be in the same household, it's that type of bond that I use to distinguish the cult members as relatives and those who share ancestry as family. That was a long way to say because I got something to share. So last week, the governing body in the cult released this update. It is everywhere. But guess how mine came to me last week? I got not one, but two text messages about this update. The first one came in a group chat from a relative, and who of course means is in a cult. Okay, so it came at 9:19, and this is what it says. Good morning. You are invited to the memorial of Christ's death on March 24 after sundown. And then there's a link. I replied. That's all I said. Please do not include me in these cult-related messages. Okay. Remember, that was at 9:19. Same day, 9:19 in the morning, 9:42 a.m. A family member, which means they are not in the cult, but they are cult adjacent because everybody in my family knows who the cult members are. So, and some are cult adjacent, meaning they attend, they may believe, but they have not dedicated their life. They are not baptized. So this person that sent this to me said at 9:42, 2024 governing body update number 2. So there have been 2 updates. I already knew about the first one. And there was a link, jw.org, to the exact video. I responded. Please do not send me anything regarding the organization. The reason why the terminology changed is because this is a family member who I've never had this conversation with. And I didn't want to seem like I was upset. And I really wasn't, not with this person. Now, that first one, I was very angry because this person, this relative, and I have had this freaking conversation before. And I've already told this person that I don't want this crap. Don't send me your magazines. Don't send me invitations. Do not send me. I don't want to hear it. And so that's why the language, even though I was very polite, uses the term cult. Now, why did I use the term cult? And now I'm going to share you why I use the term cult with this relative and not the family member. The family member, we had never had this conversation before. This person was very respectful. All they said was okay. And so I have no reason to be upset because I believe that this person was trying to say, oh, look, this is great stuff. This person does not know how I feel about this cult because I don't share this with them. So, and I've been trying to remain like not, basically living in my own little world on my piece of this earth. Like I do not try to contact these people at all. And so when I get this kind of foolishness from relatives who I've already freaking talked to, it gets under my skin. And my blood has been boiling since I received this because I'm going to tell you why. There have been updates. The family members shared the update with me. I've already followed a lot of these ex-cult members, the deconstruction. It is everywhere. I got it. I've seen it. I've digested it. I read comments. And so I'm going to share with you why I use the term cult when I was talking to the relative who invited me to the Sky Daddy Prom. So first, let me explain what the Sky Daddy Prom is. You already know who the Sky Daddy is. So the Sky Daddy Prom is a said memorial of Jesus Christ's death, which is commonly called in other religions as communion. The reason why I refer to it as a Sky Daddy Prom is because in the cult, this is a huge deal. We're talking people buy new clothes, they have meals together, they celebrate before or after, depending on when the Sky Daddy Prom starts. There are congregations who rent out spaces because they invite so many people. There's a campaign that goes on. This is the huge deal. This is the grand poobah of celebrating. This is the only thing they celebrate in this cult. So everybody goes out, people getting their hair done, men getting their haircuts. You are looking great. You get your hair done, your nails done, new clothes. You get reservations, you get big crowds of people, and y'all all meet either at somebody's home or you get reservations and go to a nice restaurant. This is a huge deal. We didn't even have to go to school that day or the next day, depending on when the Sky Daddy Prom was. So it was an excuse day for us. This is the only religious holiday we celebrate. So this is our Sky Daddy Prom. And that is what the relative was inviting me to. So I'm ticked. Because the thing about it is I could have always gone. So I didn't need your special invitation. Didn't want it. It was ticked that you sent it. And it was ticked because I've already told you not to do this. And here you are doing it. But let me tell you why this person did it. But before I even go there, I want to also tell you that later that day, same blasted day, somebody that I have literally not seen in close to, if not longer than 15 years, reached out to my oldest daughter to get my number. So what happened, I was picking her up from school. She gets in the car and she had been at work all day. So I have not had a chance to talk to her because she works in a preschool and they're not allowed to have their phones. So, but she was included in the invitation. She didn't say anything, but she read my response on her break. And when she gets in the car, I asked her about it. I said, "Do you have a chance to read your text message from the relative?" And she was like, "Yeah." And so we both chuckled. I said, I was ticked. She's like, "I can't believe that this person sent this to you." And she laughed. She said, "I read your response." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not happy about this." So then she says, this other relative who doesn't even live in this state, doesn't live in the state I'm from, like I said, who I have not seen in maybe 15 years, contacted her from my number so that he can say hello to me. So I'm like, they got to stop. So now I'm going to tell you why I chose the word cult with him. So I want to play you a little bit of the update, okay, and why these two people, these relatives, decided that it was okay to contact me. Okay.
In keeping with the scriptural admonition at 1 Corinthians 5:11, when a person has been removed from the congregation, we stop keeping company with that person, not even eating with such a man. That means we don't socialize with those who are removed from the congregation. However, that does not mean that a Christian could not invite a disfellowshipped person to attend a congregation meeting. That disfellowshipped person could be a relative, a former Bible student, or someone we were close to in the past. How appropriate this adjustment is at this time, as we're preparing for the most important meeting of the year, the memorial, which will be held on Sunday, March 24th.
So, your Sky Daddy foot soldier told you that it was okay to invite me to the Sky Daddy Prom. But see, this is how you know this is a cult. Because you took this direction from your Sky Daddy foot soldier, despite me telling you that I didn't want you to send me and talk to me about anything from this place. And so I'm ticked because your Sky Daddy foot soldier admonition, encouragement superseded what I asked you not to do. And that is why I was angry. But there is more. Because it just asked for an invitation, whereas my other relative wants to say, hello, there's more to this update. Let's continue. Listen to the rest.
What if a disfellowshipped person comes to a congregation meeting? Under our current arrangement, we don't say a greeting to individuals who've been removed from the congregation. However, the governing body has decided that publishers can use their Bible-trained conscience to decide whether to give a simple greeting and welcome a disfellowshipped individual who attends a congregation meeting.
So they've been told now that they can invite me, and then notice it said relative, that would be me, to a meeting, right? So now they're saying it's your Bible-trained conscience. You can do a greeting. Hence, the other person who wanted to contact me to say just a hello. Don't you think that's odd that after maybe about 15 years that all you have to say to me is hello? There's more. I'm going to play you the example of the greeting that they put on. It's out there. This is, oh my gosh.
Hi, it's so good to see you here. Thank you. While we wouldn't have an extended conversation or socialize with such a person, we do not need to ignore him completely.
So, up until this year, 2024, if you went back to the Sky Daddy meeting, no one would speak to you. They would literally ignore you. Now, what's funny is that clip I played you was the example to kind of give everybody an idea of what a greeting and what's appropriate, right? But I just played the audio. If you watch the video, it's actually two people that's greeting this person. There's a man whose voice you hear greeting the disfellowship person, and there's a woman standing right next to him. She does not say a word. She just looks at that person and smiles. That's it. She just smiles. She doesn't say hey. So I guess her Bible-trained conscience said, I don't feel comfortable saying hey. Now, they said, good to see you here. They didn't say, how you doing? It was a simple, blasted greeting. And for some reason, these people believe that those of us who've been ousted and shunned, and for me, for many years, are going to look at this as opportunity. Oh my God, they're going to greet me if I come back. Do you really think I've been waiting since 2009 to hear one of y'all say, hi, good to see you? I have not. I have not been waiting for that. And I don't freaking care. Now, the reason why I responded to the relative who sent me the invitation is because I needed all of them to not start contacting me and sending me invitations, because I knew if that person started, it was going to be more. So the reason why I use Colt, okay? Now I'm going to play you the next part, because this part is me. This is who they're talking about. All right, let's listen.
Brings us to our third scripture. In 2 John 9-11, there we read, everyone who pushes ahead and does not remain in the teaching of the Christ does not have God. The one who does remain in this teaching is the one who has both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this teaching, do not receive him into your homes or say a greeting to him. For the one who says a greeting to him is a sharer in his wicked works. But doesn't 2 John 9-11 tell us not to say a greeting to anyone who's been removed from the congregation?
It does.
In examining the context of those verses, the governing body has concluded that the Apostle John was really describing apostates and others who actively promote wrong conduct.
Okay, so that scripture does not say that. And so it's the mental gymnastics that they have to do to make this crap make sense. Because he read the scripture. It does not say apostates. They have concluded that that's who he's talking about. So what's an apostate? I will tell you now, I am an apostate. They would consider me an apostate. But I'm going to let you hear this for yourselves.
Strongly directed Christians not even to greet such a person because of his contaminating influence. Therefore, if a disfellowshipped individual is a known apostate or someone who actively promotes wrongdoing, the elders would not visit him. Neither would individual Christians greet such a person or invite him to attend a congregation meeting.
Okay, so that is why I referred to myself. That is why I responded to that relative the way I did. This person is an active member of the cult. The buzzword was referring to them as being in a cult. So an apostate is someone who renounces a religious or political belief or principle. I don't need to have done anything. The fact that I have renounced this belief makes me somebody who doesn't even deserve a greeting. Not that horrible greeting that they gave that poor woman who was brave enough to return. I will not even get that. And they will not be sending me any more Sky Daddy Prom invitations, any gatherings of any sort. I will not receive those anymore, because now they know 100% that I'm an apostate. And so this greeting, this invitation does not apply to me. So there is more parts to this update that I want to share and go into a lot more detail about my experience. And I will dissect that on future episodes, just only because it will take a long time for me to get through it all. And so just stay tuned, and I will talk about more of the update, because there's more than this. That's only a portion of the update. I wanted to address that particular one because of the spark, because of the chain reaction. They put this out. 3 people tried to contact me on Friday. Now, the other person that I hadn't heard from in about 15 years, I think they contacted me on Friday. They didn't leave a message, but what happened was when my daughter said, "Can I give this person your cell number?" I said, "Make it clear that I don't want to hear this crap." And so we were at a grocery store, and I left my phone in the car with my daughter because she was listening to the entire update. And so she was on my phone, and I just went in to grab what I needed. And so she said he called while I was in the store, but he didn't leave a message. So I, more likely than not, the other relative has said she's an apostate, and therefore we can't. She is exempt. This new light, as they call it, does not apply to her. So that is what's going on. I'm actually quite proud of myself, to be honest with you. One, for not losing it on any of them and saying, "Have you lost your whole mind?" But just responding very simply, "Please don't do this." I could have said way more. And honestly, as I drove, because it happened that morning, I had to go to work, but I had an errand to run. And so I was in the car for an extended period of time. I was just listening to the whole update, and I was fuming. Because I was like, they just don't get it. But I also have sympathy for them because I was where they were. And they're still relatives, and I still love them, and I still wish them well. I just wish they would respect my boundaries. And in the most polite way that I could, I hope that I was able to convey that this is not something that I believe. This is not something that I want. Please respect that. I know that your Sky Daddy foot soldiers told you it was okay, but I don't listen to them. I am not bound by the cult. I'm not bound by their teachings, and I don't care what they told you was okay. I'm telling you that it's not. So that is it for me on this particular portion of it. Like I said, there's more that I have to unpack. I want to try to keep this under 30 and just stay tuned while I share more of those updates. Like I said, that was the second update. The first update has nothing to do with me, but I want to share it with you because I want to show you just how they have to do this mind bending to make this foolishness make sense. And then you can hopefully understand how this deconstruction has been going for me, and it will give you a better understanding of where I am today and how difficult this has been for me. I want you to also understand that I have gone to the Sky Daddy Prom since being disfellowshipped, since being shunned, and it's not easy to walk back in there, especially when you know everybody. And I would be with my children who were very young, 8 and 9 at the time, and them speaking to my children and not saying a word to me. When I tell you they said ignore, they meant that. Like, these people did not smile. They did not look at me. It was as if I was not there. So the fact that you would resurrect me in your mind and decide I'm going to invite her to the Sky Daddy Prom, it was very upsetting. At the same token, I want to make sure that although I don't agree with it and it did upset me, that I didn't overreact to them. Now, as I said, driving up 425, I was ticked, man. But I've calmed down and I said, I'm going to share this. And I know sometimes they listen. Maybe not after that cult comment. Let me stop. Anyway, I'm also proud to announce that I have made a lot of headway with my deconstruction. And one of the things I'm going to share on a near episode is that letter, that email that I told you I've been keeping since 2013. I've got new information about that. I'm ready to talk about that. So lots to unpack, a lot of deconstruction that I want to talk about. And I want to also be proud of me and say, like the theme song for my life, Just Fine, especially after hearing those updates. My God. I like what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past the mirror. Don't stress tonight at a time in my life. Ain't worried about if you feel it. Got my head on straight. I got my vibe right. Ain't gonna let you kill it. You see, I wouldn't change my life. My life's just fine. And that last line feels even more impactful because they don't think my life is just fine. If they did, they would have been trying to invite me to the little Sky Daddy Prom that I ain't going to. Anywho, meet me on the other side of 45. The podcast, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. TikTok might be going away, and I don't post anything in there, so I need to probably just stop saying that. New episodes will release every week. Thank you for tuning in. Please rate the podcast 5 stars so others can find it. Helps me grow my podcast. Your feedback and support is appreciated. If you'd like to share your story, please email me or contact me on one of those social media sites. You can DM me. You can email me at host at theothersideof45.com.